#1 live business radio show in North Carolina, home of Burners Cigar Studio. Great people, premium cigars. Life is good at Burners. Go by Birkdale Village and tell them Joe sent you. You are listening to Local Biz Now. We hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you, because that's what we do here at News Talk WSIC, where your business matters. I am here with my co-host, James Sanders. He is the founder and head bottle washer and dishwasher of
I take out the recycles.
Shared resources technology. James, thank you for being here, buddy. I appreciate it.
Grateful to be here. Thank you.
We have live on the tubes Todd Nuckols. He is the author of the 80/20 Business. Big results from small change. Those of you that watch the show a lot, you may remember him. We interviewed him. I only got through about half of the book. I told him how much I really enjoyed it, and we wanted to get him back again, and he has been gracious enough to come back and talk to us. So
we're back for the other 40/10?
That's right. That's right.
Very good.
That's right. That's right. So Todd Nuckols, author of 80/20. Thank you, my friend, for being here.
Hey, great to be back. Great to be back. Sorry,
So
you guys are
where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you from Amelia Island, Florida. So we didn't get it like you guys got, but we got a little bit of rain and wind from this. But yeah, no, it passed by us, and I saw the devastation that it did in North Carolina in particular. So hang in there.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you being from Florida, you know what these disasters are like. About every year and a half, you get one.
Exactly.
So break it down for us. 80/20. Describe the inspiration for wanting to write this book.
Absolutely. So I have been working with small business owners for 25 years. And when I wrote the book, the thing that I knew for a fact is small business owners need to know what to take off their plate, not what to add onto their plate, because they're dealing with everything. And so the premise of the book, as you'll see in the chapters, is teaching them what to focus on and what to remove. And that's where the 80/20 rule, the Pareto principle, comes in, because they're going to get 80% of the results from 20% of their activities, good or bad. And so it's important that they understand what that 20% should be.
So give us a little bit of your background, because you don't wake up on a Tuesday and write a business book like this without having some experience to get there.
Absolutely. Coming out of graduate school, I joined a consulting firm, worked for them for about a decade, and cut my teeth. And then for the last 15 years, I started my 80/20 business coaching program. I've traveled, coast to coast, even up into Canada, and worked directly with small business owners, interviewed hundreds and hundreds of workers along the way, and just learned what it takes. Because if you're running a small business, it's completely different than working in corporate America. If you come out even with an MBA and you decide you want to work in corporate America, all you've done is prepare to work in one area within a large corporation. And when you work as a small business owner, you're wearing dozens of hats. And so everything that I've developed is about helping that person, the person that has, a lot of balls in the air and spinning a lot of plates.
So I don't call me a cheater now, you understand, but I went to the Terminator, and those of you that don't know, that's what I called a chat GT or whatever they AI,
large language model.
I call it the Terminator. Okay. Yeah. I went to the Terminator and I asked it to summarize your book.
Oh, wow.
And they gave me 3 bullet points. Number 1 says prioritization. Number 2 says efficiency, and number 3 says real-world applications. Would you agree with that summary, that your approach is to prioritize, come up and be more efficient, and then apply it in a real-world setting? Does that fit? Did the Terminator catch your book?
Yeah, it did. Actually, it did quite well. Ask it to write a duplicate.
A sequel.
So the one that caught me right off the bat was prioritization. Talk about that, because, I don't know if you remember or not, but I've got a long-term employee. She's been with me about 9.5 years, and every now and then I will overload her. and she'll let me know, you understand. Those of you out there, don't feel sorry for Julie, you understand. She will clearly let me know when she's had enough, right? And my answer is, whoa. Just prioritize. I'm not telling you when to get all this done. I'm simply saying prioritize it and let's just take it one by one. And so it's how you can achieve much more if you simply define in your mind's eye what's important and what we can wait to another day to take care of.
Absolutely. And I actually have a little exercise I created called Finding the Fives. And what I do is I have a person, an owner, workers, whatever the case may be, list all of the activities they have yet to do and then rate them 1 to 5. 5 activities brings you cash back quicker. Anything at a 3 or below, you can push off for another day. So right there is a quick exercise to help you prioritize what's first, second, and third in your day.
Right. It's funny you say that because that's exactly how I prioritize for Julie. I said, Julie, if it's somebody's going to write us a check, what do you say we deal with them first?
let me ask you this because, I start the day probably working on those 2s and 3s, pushing through communications. Email and communications will bog me down right off the bat. And they are not cash generating, but those people are looking for communication from me.
So most of these emails are customers wanting something or needing.
Yeah, customers are sorting through vendor offers, just the pile of email. So if those are not directly cash generating, can I just stop responding to my email, please?
Well,
Todd, will you give me permission to do that?
Yeah, I will give you permission. Delay it an hour or 2 because, here's a couple things here. If you don't do your most important tasks first thing in the morning, you will probably not get to them because that vortex of a day will suck you in and you'll just go crazy. And so I always like to prioritize the most important tasks first. Now, the other thing is all of us, our energy is like a battery. And the longer the day goes on, the more the battery starts to drop. And so, you need to have the energy for the most important tasks. So I would recommend you just delay it an hour or 2 and then hit the ground running.
Important tasks.
So one of the things, a question that I wrote down is, how do I identify this 20% that is the most productive thing that I do during the day, right? Because, when I read your book, it sounds a whole lot easier than it is, right? Because to James' point, I have to do number 1, 2, and 3, right? And then the number 4 might, in fact, get me a check, right? But prioritizing those, it gets kind of challenging for me. How do you sort of define that 20% sweet spot?
Well, again, going back to what I said earlier, it starts with some sort of activity list of exactly what you touch all the time. That's the first thing. And then usually that's where I get involved. People send me their list and we talk through that and I help them make those decisions. But again, look at anything you can hand off to a worker. In that case, is something you should hand off very, very quickly. Again, going back to, what brings you cash, what doesn't. The things that only you as the owner can handle or what your list should be. And, sometimes owners want to handle everything because they don't want to let go. And that's a whole nother issue in itself. So, it's a matter of talking it out after you have your list. Get your list, talk it out with someone, me, anybody. And that helps you a bunch.
And it's been a while since I actually read the book. This applies to personal life as well. I mean, we're not just having this conversation for business owners.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it really does. 20% of what you eat gives you 80% of your results, good or bad. Same thing for exercise. Same thing for any other part of your life. It absolutely applies.
What would you say? What is toughest to quantify when you're looking at the 80-20 and trying to decide what's 80 and what's 20? What is it? Is it like, I don't know how I'd put a finger on effort?
No.
Or energy.
Todd, where he's going in my mind is customer service or after the sale. That's hard for me to quantify in my world, right?
Sure.
After I've sold the client, they trust me, but they want continuous information and feedback. But there's not going to be a check today when I call them, right? You know what I mean? That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean that's a little more difficult. Obviously, anything that's not fact-based and tangible, it's a little bit harder. But things like, are they referring you to other people? Are you getting great customer reviews? Those are all tangible things to tell you that your customer service is that 20% that's giving you the 80% of your results.
So, Todd, we got to go on break. We've only got about 30 seconds. If somebody wanted to reach you, how could they reach you, buddy?
My first name, Todd, at toddnuckols.com will reach me, and we'll have a conversation about that.
That sounds great, buddy. We really do appreciate you doing this. Todd Nuckols is the author of The 80/20 Business, Big Results from Small Changes. Todd Nuckols. Todd, my friend, we thank you so much for being here today.
And Todd, when you come back, can you talk about the Bulletproof Business Project that you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
You got it. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and I'm here with my buddy and co-host and friend, whether he will admit it or not, owner of Shared Resources. We'll be right back.
There's more
My mind went blank. Who is this guy I'm talking with?
Oh, Todd, we can't hear you if our headphones not on. But yeah, you want to pull those slides up, Joe?
No, I can't.
No. You need some tech support?
Well, because we don't have them.
The middle of the slide deck.
They showed up on the phone. They did not show up on the email.
Oh, I see.
So to answer your question, no.
Yeah.
And to answer your other question, yeah, I need IT help. Always.
I'm sorry, I wouldn't take on your account. I feel like that would be 80% of my time for. It would just hurt. Now I have had many prospects that I've looked at and I'm like, no way. No way, I just wouldn't do it. So
Yeah, no, I do not. I don't understand it, but I do not have that on my email.
That's all right. Todd's got this.
It must be.
Yep, I got it.
Todd's,
okay.
He can probably do it right off the top of his head.
We're going to have to, aren't we?
We'll just think of smart questions on the fly. Can you do that?
No, that's
Okay.
why you're here.
Ask a lot of open-ended questions, and
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
Todd, when I first read about Pareto principle, then I really stopped and stared at everything in my life, right?
Yeah.
And I dug in and I tried to apply it many, many, many places. And I came to the realization that I may be applying this too broadly. So I don't think I'm a huge fan, military trained in continuous improvement.
Wow.
And so, was it Kaizen? I think I've heard it pronounced differently over the years.
Yeah,
But,
Edward Dimick, heard of that? Yeah.
yes.
TQM. Yeah.
TQM, yeah. So, huge fan. But the 80/20 was tough. I found
guys,
myself
30
spending
seconds.
a lot of time
Wilton, I need
evaluating things, trying to make it fit when it did.
the burners.
Yep. But I think we got less than 10, 15 seconds here. I'm excited to have you on here. I appreciate it. I'm
Thanks,
glad I'm here for this.
Thank you.
Is that binder behind him?
USIC.
I'd give
Local
$400.
starts here.
Yeah. Number one live talk business show in North Carolina. I am Joe Vagnone, and I'm here with James Sanders, founder of Shared Resources. This is Local Biz Now, where your business matters. Those of you that are listening live on the radio, I am holding up my burner cigar, puff of smoke, that says this is on Joe. Fire it up, Wilton.
Savoring the Flames takes a whole new meaning at Burner Cigar. This is Josh Johnson, and after a long day, there's nothing quite like the relaxing ritual of lighting up a premium cigar. Join me in discovering the true art of relaxation with every draw.
And here's the reality. James, you and I both are cigar smokers.
Yes. In fact,
that's a true statement. It is a very relaxing thing to do.
It is the only time that I sit still for about 30 minutes. The rest of the time, I am go, go, go. So it is a quality of life thing for me.
And I've been telling people this for years. When I smoke a cigar, it's this great equalizer. I could be sitting next to high school math teacher. You know what I mean? And
yes,
and a IT guy. And a small business broker. And all of us are on this equal footing as we're sitting smoking. And I've told people for years, a cigar is a lot better than a game of golf in a business setting.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's 45 minutes to an hour.
That's right.
And I get one-on-one conversation with you.
And
playing golf, I'm chasing that little white ball around, and if I'm lucky, I might get a chance to talk to you in between holes.
Right. And the first thing I notice is that I pay attention to what you're smoking. This is me at Burners. I see what somebody's smoking, and then we chit chat about cigars a little bit, and then later in the conversation about what they're up to. So they're rebuilding transmissions down in Charlotte, but they own the place, and they're the third generation that's been doing it down there, and that type of stuff. So yeah, it is a great networking opportunity. It's a tasty one. When you hold up that sign, honestly,
it makes you feel good, doesn't it?
yeah.
So anyway, so please go by Burner Cigar. They're in Brookdale Village and also Denver Highway 16. Go on by there. Tell them Joe sent you. And if you hold up a sign just like this, they will give you the first cigar as long as you post this on your social media. We appreciate you doing that. Let's get back to business. We are here with Todd Nuckols. Todd is the author of 80/20 Business, Big Results from Small Changes. Todd, my friend, thank you for being here, buddy.
Great to be here. Great to be here.
Todd, it's the 80/20 rule is out there and has been out there for decades. Yes. But it's tough to apply, and so you are here to help and coach and train us through that kind of. And you've got Bulletproof Business. What is that about?
Well, the Bulletproof Business really started in 2020 when I started to see challenges that people were getting into, and it's kind of evolved from there. But last week I taught 17 business owners how to create their bulletproof business for the first time. And, to have a bulletproof business, I don't care what industry you're in, I don't care, what you do, there's only 3 areas you really have to cover. The first thing you have to do is have strong financials. You talk about what's happening in North Carolina right now and things like that. Number one, you have to have a strong balance sheet, and most business owners don't even know how to read their balance sheet. So what I do is after I teach them,
don't brush over that. That's a true statement. That
is true.
I am telling you, I've made this. It's anecdotal, but I believe I'm probably right. About 75% of my clients cannot read their balance sheet or their P&L. They cannot interpret and use it to a management level that would help them. So you are absolutely correct about that.
The very first step that you provide, Joe, in looking at businesses is you say, get someone else to do your books.
Well, it really is. Because they don't do a good job, or I'm sorry, your wife is not qualified for the level that it needs to be, or she doesn't do it fast enough, because timing is the key to the P&L, right? It's about timing. And if you get it too late, as a manager, you can no longer use it as a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 90% of small business owners run their business by the checkbook. If there's
Yes.
cash in the bank, things are good. If there's not cash in the bank, things are bad, but they don't understand the why. And so that's why when you learn to read your financials, you can predict some of these things. Your balance sheet is your scoreboard. It tells you whether you're ahead or behind in the ball game. More importantly, it tells you how many touchdowns you're up or behind. It tells you how many minutes are left in the game. And if you learn to read that at the end of every month, and by the way, it only takes about 5 minutes to read your balance sheet correctly. And if someone will send me an email, todd@toddnuckols.com, I'll send you a free tool to make it even easier. So that's the first thing you have to read and understand. There are key ratios you have to read from that, and send me an email. I'll teach you that. And then it goes to the P&L. Your P&L is just that replay. That's all it is. It's the replay of the last month, last quarter, last year. And you can make cash decisions based on that. And then I actually throw in another document called the cash flow statement, which most business owners don't have. Heck, most accountants don't even do, but that's your true cash position. So those three things are what you have to learn to read to create a bulletproof business on the financial side.
And so,
Very nice.
And let's touch on that just a little bit, Todd, because what I want small business people to hear is once you have the information, I bet you're going to make different choices and decisions. So it's as if you're guessing or using your gut, and you're right 50% of the time, and you pat yourself on the back or you beat your chest and say, look, honey, look how good I've done. And you and I are saying, but if you read your P&L and you look at your percentages, you could be right 80% of the time, right?
Exactly,
So I want people to hear that.
Yeah, you'd have time to pull the plane up before it crashes, is what
That's right.
The important part of that.
All right, strong financials, and that's being able to read and react appropriately to a strong balance sheet, a P&L, and a cash flow statement. What's the second piece of a bulletproof business?
The second piece of a bulletproof business is having a solid organizational structure. Now, I only work with family-based businesses. Now, many times when I start working with them, they are not organized around functions like corporate America is. They're organized around people, which means uncles and children and brothers and you name it. And that's not good either. And so, there's only 4 major functions that every business needs to have. Somebody has to drive the car. That's the general manager. Somebody has to get work done. That's an operations manager, a sales manager to get work in, and sort of a human resources manager to get things done. So those are the only 4 functions that need to be filled. And sometimes the owner fills more than one of those. But again, are you organized around functions or are you organized around people?
Todd, this is sort of hypocritical for us, right? Because we go to small business. Or I'm going to let me make the statement first, and I'll tell you a story. But the reality is, we go to small business people and we say, "Okay, let's build this thing around you." Right? What are you good at? What do you want to do? Why did you start the business? What's the why? And let's get you comfortable with the operation. Right? Well, that's a person, right? That's an issue. And then we tell them, now we want you to design the business that's not around your personnel, right? So there is some hypocrisy there. Now, before I let you answer that, let me just remind you, I've been hosting this show for 11 years because the owner says he likes that I don't mind people disagreeing with me. It's good radio, so it's okay if you don't agree with me on that. So.
Oh no, I completely agree with you. It's just that at some point the business grows up around their ears, and that's when they usually call me, because the same skills that got them from 0 to $500,000 or 0 to 750,000 in revenue are not going to get them to 1 million, 1.5, and that's when they have to run it like a business and start working on the business instead of just in the business. There is a point where they have to transition over.
I love it when you have guests on here that I feel like they're speaking directly to me.
Well, okay.
I'm taking notes over here. I'm
Absolutely.
scribbling. Now, what did he mean?
So
around functions or people? What the world?
Here's the reality. The reality is you build a small business off the backs of the owner. You grow it through systems, processes, and people in the right place. And that is 2 completely different skill sets. Right? And I can remember when I looked up one day and I had literally built the largest closed market environment restaurant concept in the Southeast, right? That you literally could not drive Charlotte Mecklenburg and look at a building that had 110,000 square feet or less, or more, and me not have some kind of food service in that business, right? And I had about 175 employees. And I'm telling you, I literally woke up one day and realized I can't run this. It's just not what I wanted to do. It wasn't my skill set. My skill set was in building. It was not in actually running the business. And Todd, if I had somebody like you, you probably could have figured out a way for me to keep the business instead of I decided to sell it.
Hey, Todd, we're getting close on time. I don't want to have to come back for the 1%. What is the third item? Don't leave me hanging.
The third item is having a solid sales and marketing plan. And this is a twofold plan. One where you get more from existing clients, like in your case, and then one where you're bringing in new clients. And you have to have some activities going on for both of those. And there's some simple ways to do that. Again, send me an email, todd@toddnuckols.com. I'll send you back a full plan on that.
I both love and hate this guy.
I know, he's great. And Todd, it never fails. I always run out of time. I don't have enough time with you, Todd. Thank you so much, buddy. It is such a pleasure. One more time, if somebody want to reach you, how can they reach you?
Todd@toddnuckols.com.
You also can get that on Facebook as well. Todd Nuckols, 80-20 business rule. Great coach. Big results from small change. Todd Nuckols, thank you, buddy. We appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you, Todd.
James Sanders, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for filling in last week, too.
I had a great time.
I tell people, I make this look easy. You understand
yes,
that?
you do. Yes, you do. I sweat the whole time, so.
You are listening to Local Biz Now, where your business
matters.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to step on you.
That's okay, man.
Do it, baby. Do it.
Your business matters.
Yeah. We'll see you next week. Thanks again, Todd.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Serving you better than ever before. WSIC, Statesville.
Oh, man,
W290 DK Mooresville.